Aloha, this is Jessica Smith in response to Chapter 3, the case for moral objectivism as opposed to relativism, which talks about depending on the culture and acceptance of the people, things would be considered moral, but more about the universal standard of morals. It's not absolutist. It talks about how they're two separate and different things. Because absolutist is non-overridable, and objectivism talks about how they're universally valid, but there's not necessarily a priority level of which one you will always put first. It's more based off of natural law, because human beings are the same all over the world, despite their language, despite their culture. We each have basic human needs that need to be met, that we prefer pleasure instead of pain, that we shouldn't kill each other, that different things that will help produce a happy and productive society, regardless of ethnicity, of culture, of location, of the group of people. We each have basic human needs that need to be met, and this natural law produces this objectivism. Because each human will desire good, and we don't desire, it's not good because we desire it, the article talks about, but we desire it because it is good. It is something that we want in our lives, and that's kind of more of a guiding force behind objectivism and morals in this view. There's not necessarily a priority level, that justice, yes, may usually take priority, but every once in a while benevolence, which is also something good, will kind of take priority in that effect on what's moral and what's not. And this was under the what they call a double effect, that which of the two things would produce the most good and the less evil. Because sometimes you do have to choose between good and better, and you're not always sure which one it is. Between breaking a promise or saving someone's life was an example that was used in the text. Which one do you put first? And then it listed a few different reasons, few different conditions of how to make these types of choices. And so what I found interesting in the article is that we are free to choose by our logic. We determine what's right and wrong based on logic and based on these basic human needs that are universal, that are in a sense absolutist, but not really. It's kind of like a third option, which is kind of neat, being able to think outside of just good and just bad, being able to see things from a different perspective, and using the conditions around us and being object to them, not subject to them. It talks about, if you were to take a short trip into hell, that, if for example there was an eternal back itch, and everyone down there is, unable to scratch their back, and they're just writhing down there, unable to scratch their backs. But in heaven, they're constantly getting their back scratched by another person. They have the same issue. They've got the itch on the back. So I thought that was kind of a neat tie to the subject and object ideas that we've discussed throughout the semester as well. That we use human nature and those laws and those principles that will benefit our society to our advantage, rather than letting the rules overtake us or letting our own wants and desires overtake us, but having there be that third option that will allow us to take it to a different level of morals, and the use of logic and being able to make those decisions, kind of being able to see those and to think for ourselves. There was a question in chapter 2 that says, who are we to judge what's right and what's wrong? And at the end of this chapter it mentions, well, we're not stupid. We can we can choose, we can see what's good and what's evil and what will benefit humankind. And if we use our brain and understand these rules and are object to them rather than subject, we can have a moral life.